Holy cow, the Cubs came this close to sweeping the Padres. Can we blame the bullpen? I'll tell you next. Cubs opened Wrigley Field for the 2025 season with almost sweeping another California baseball team. But this time, it's the previously undefeated San Diego Padres. They had 5 wins in a row, but the Cubs in this series 7-5 on the season. And as of this recording, the only team in the division with a winning record. That's key because it's those St. Louis Kardashians and the Brew Boys in Milwaukee can drown on their Pilsner for all I care. Game 1 of the series between Chicago Cubs and the San Diego Padres was a 3-1 victory for the Chicago Cubs. This outcome of this game was significant as it handed the previously undefeated Padres their first loss of the season, moving their record to 7-1. Shada Eminaga was the player of this game. He had another outstanding outing, pitching 7 1/3 innings, which is the longest outing of his short major league career. He allowed only 1 earned run on 4 hits and 4 strikeouts and no walks. As I said earlier, another outstanding performance from Shada Eminaga, and it's at the point where we got to start now treating him as an ace, treating him as a legit ace because the results back it up. This is his 32nd career start. And 15 of the 31 prior starts, he had allowed 1 or fewer runs. And the Cubs hold a 24-7 record in those starts. That is undoubtedly dominant. That is an ace. That's the literal definition of an ace of a squad. Someone that you feel that when you see them take the bump, you just have a better than great feeling that you're going to fly to W when it's all said and done after that game. I had the same feeling in 1998 with Kevin Tapani and Kerry Wood, same feeling in 2003 with Mark Pryor, and the same damn feeling in 2016 with Jake Arrieta. Let's go. We need that. Cubs offense only managed to score 3 runs on 3 hits. So the fireworks that we saw against the Athletics, did not translate to this first game with the Padres, but more to come. First run was scored due to a walk issued by Vasquez. Ian Happ had 2 of the 3 runs in this game. Justin Turner, the vet of the squad, he pitch hit for Michael Busch against a lefty pitcher of the Padres and hit an infield single to drive an assurance run. A lot of people are calling that a great move by Craig Counsell, and I would agree because the main job of a manager is to put the players in best position to be successful. And that's exactly what Justin Turner did in that spot. A vet like him is great to have in late inning situations because he's been clutch his whole career. And he's probably good for a spot start here and there. More on that later. The bullpen. There was a little bit of a hiccup in this game. We had Ryan Presley come up to get the save, and it wasn't without his usual drama. He allowed 1 hit and another walk to put 2 on, and obviously the tying run is at the plate. But he managed to get a strikeout and shut it down to get his 3rd save of the season. We don't need all this blood pressure, histrionics, and nonsense at the beginning of the season. Ryan, can you please just get 3 outs, please? 3 outs. Quick, fast, in a hurry. The Cubs home opener drew a crowd of 40,244. If there's one thing about Cub fans, they're going to show up. They're going to show up and show out. I can't say that about all the other teams, especially the ones on the south side of Chicago, but Cubs fans got this. This was the Cubs' fourth win in a row. And like I said, it was impressive because it had knocked the Padres from the ranks of the unbeaten. If you were looking to gauge to see where your team is, especially this early in the season, there's probably no better team in the league at this point to see how good your squad is, but to match them up against the Padres, who were 7-0 coming into this game. Game 2, Matthew Boyd took the bump, and he had another brilliant outing for him. He pitched 6 innings, allowed no earned runs, 1 walk, 5 hits, and struck out another 5. He has now pitched 11 scoreless innings in this season, and his ability to keep batters off balance is starting to become something that's noticeable around the league. It's pretty remarkable. He's got legit 5 pitches in his bag. He's got a fastball that gets into the high 90s. He's got a decent changeup, really good slider. And if you don't believe me, Carson Kelly, he's been singing the praises for Matthew Boyd anytime he's asked. He's saying he can throw pretty much any pitch at any time to anyone, anywhere. So a lot of coming into this season, a lot of Cubs fans were concerned, had questions about whether or not the Cubs have a third starter behind Imanaga and Steele. And if Matthew Boyd can keep this type of success, going, those questions have been answered resoundingly. I'm hoping for it. The Cubs offense was also a significant factor in getting the second win of this series. They scored 7 runs in this game. They demonstrated timely hitting once again. Although they left several runners on base, it ultimately didn't matter, as again, we won the game by 6 runs as a score 7-1 will indicate. Carson Kelly delivered the big hit of the game. He hit a 3-run home run in the 6th inning, which put the game to a 7-0 spot at that point. This is Kelly's second home run of the season, adding to an already strong offensive showing from him early on to begin this 2025 edition of the Cubs. Furthermore, the Cubs offense has shown a lot of patience at the plate. That's probably the number one thing that I like to see from a batter. Patience at the plate, making sure the pitcher has to work to get you out. Coming into Saturday's game, they led all of baseball in walk rate. The Cubs have had multiple games this season already with 7 or more walks. And that's the stuff that wears down pitchers. None of this cranking it into the outfield and all this other stuff. You got to wear pitchers down. In this era of pitch counts and 5 and divers winning Cy Youngs, you want to wear that shoulder down and get into the bullpen. That's the secret sauce. That's the secret stuff, the secret weapon to having a consistent offense. The power is another thing. The Cubs aren't the New York Torpedoes, or otherwise known as the New York Yankees, but coming into this game, they had 16 homers on the season and was a top 10 team in isolated power. If they can continue to pair the power with the high walk rate, it's going to be a fantastically amusing summer for Cubs fans. And to add into that, they have a strong base running culture they're building right now with the Cubs. It's not just PCA. We get on those base pads and they make things happen. And they don't strike out a lot. They're striking out 20% of the time. It's easy to see how this offense is taking off, led by King Tucker. The Cubs had men on base every inning in this game. And from the 2nd inning through the 6th inning, they had at least 2 runners on. They scored in the 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th. And as I already told you, the big hit came from Carson Kelly in the 6th inning as they blew out the Padres to take a 2-0 lead in the series. The biggest story of this game is Ian Happ. He became the 3rd Cub ever to be drafted by the Cubs and reach 1,000 games played with the Cubs. And to top it all off, he flashed that Gold Glove leather in this game, where he made a terrific diving catch that robbed an extra base hit from Sheets. Shout out to my boy Ian. He's one of them guys. He's dope. Final game of the series started fast. The wind was blowing out of Wrigley with temps in the mid-40s, so it wasn't going to be a good day for the pitcher, no matter who you were. The first inning went like this for Ben Brown. Walk, bunt, single to Herrera, walk, strikeout, RBI off hitting a batter, an infield single, strikeout, walk, and then a final strikeout. You're ready to get home. That would be 3 runs on 2 hits. Command from pitchers was going to be difficult on the north side today because the Cubs side of that same inning, it went like walk, walk, single, sac fly, walk, double, fielder's choice, walk again. Then there was a pitcher's change, balk, another balk, yes, 2 of them, then a line out. You're scoring at home. 5 runs on 2 hits for the Cubs. The Cubs followed that up the next inning with 2 more runs. This came from the bat of Kyle Tucker when he hit a 2-run home run into right field. After that hit, Marquis had an interesting stat they put up on the screen. It said that Kyle Tucker is the first Cubs player since Rogers Hornsby in 1929 to have 11 plus hits, 11 plus walks, 11 plus RBI, and 11 plus runs scored in the Cubs' first 11 games of a season. Okay, whatever. That's a stat, I guess. I kind of roll my eyes at it, but it's a cool stat. But it's one of those, nerd stats. It's something that, the guys that pay that for the extra stuff on Baseball Reference, that's the type of stuff that gets them wet. It just doesn't do it for me. It's a little too in the weeds for me, dork. But anyway, back to this game. So the Cubs now have 7 runs on 4 hits, and surprise, surprise, power went out in the building. We got 2 more hits for the rest of the game. The Padres, on the other hand, they got 11 more hits after the second inning and scored 5 more runs. That 5th run happened in the top of the 9th inning as, surprise, surprise, Ryan Presley was on the mound. Before we get to that part, Ben Brown, and he gave up a 2-run home run to Merrill to cut, and that cut the Cubs lead from 7-3 to 7-5. He exited the game to begin the 5th inning. So now we get back to the 9th. The game is tied 7-7. Ryan Presley's on the bump. Once again, Ryan Presley turns into Ryan Stressley. He gives up 2 hits and a walk. One of the hits was a sacrifice/fielder's choice, but you get the point. So now we've got guys on first and second, and Manny Machado's at the plate. Ryan Presley hit into what could have been an inning-ending double play. Only problem is Justin Turner, who's playing for first base today, he couldn't get the ball out of the dirt to turn the 2. That ended up going, I don't know if that was counted as an error or fielder's choice or whatever, but Manny Machado ended up reaching safe at first. Fernando Tatis Jr., he was able to score what would become the winning run because the Cubs went down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 9th. I've seen it online that you got some people blaming Ryan Presley for doing the thing again. I've seen other people online wondering why Justin Turner was even in the game at that point. There should have been a better defensive substitution that could have been made. I don't know, but I just need Ryan Presley to stop doing his 1998 Rob Beck impersonation. I know he still hasn't blown a save yet, and all the pitchers had a rough go at it today because of the weather, and the command was just off. The command was just not there for anybody. Wind's blowing out of Wrigley, so you know what you're going to get. So I don't want to be too critical. I don't want to be too harsh. However, we don't need all this drama. The drama and all the high stakes that we put onto the 9th inning, that's something we dealt with last year with Hector Neris. Just get the outs. Let's just get in and get out of these games and let's collect these wins. Final thoughts for the series. The Cubs won their 2nd consecutive series for the season and their first series at home. Those are the vibes that we're going to take from this. Yes, we could have got a sweep, and yes, it's unfortunate that we lost that game the way we did, but let's take what we got. Let's move to the next. Let's keep those good vibes rolling until the next series that we got coming up with the Rangers next at Wrigley. We got a 3-game stint with the Rangers before you get on a road trip to go play the Dodgers again for another series and a rematch with the Padres before we come back to Wrigley, have a rematch with those D-bags. and another 2-game stint with the Dodgers. It was very odd scheduling to start the season. We haven't played a team east of the Mississippi yet. I, I guess, but I don't think I've ever seen the first 20 some odd games in which we all concentrated, which the Cubs are all concentrated on the West, playing West teams. That's odd, but hey, they can catch these hands and catch these L's like anybody else. So we'll give it to them exactly how we go. As I remember, the bullpen gave up no runs in the series against the Afs, the Oakland or the Sacramento Afs or whomever Afs, and I don't want anyone to panic, and I don't want anyone to be blinded by the Cubs' 5-1 record in the last 6. This bullpen still needs to be upgraded. A lot of bad teams, White Sox, have some decent arms. White Sox again. We might need to pilfer them at some point this season, so keep an eye out. Last question before we get out of here. I saw on Reddit after Game 1, I saw someone say that Imanaga was the best Cubs acquisition in a long time. I have a question. Which is going to go down as the better acquisition at the end of it all? Imanaga or Kyle Tucker? Something to think about. Both the studs. So there's no real wrong choice, whichever one you go, at least right now. But if you ask me, I'm going to split the baby and say both. Go Cubs.
Thanks for listening to this latest edition from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. Whether you listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watching on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. And all my homies from Chicago, we say 3 things: bear down, go Cubs go, and sell the team, Jerry.